Hi, this is Curious Mystics Podcast. Together we explore the mysteries of the spiritual world, sometimes boldly,
sometimes cautiously,
but always with open hearts
and curious minds.
See you soon. Good morning and hello, it's Erica.
And Kim, welcome.
It's Curious Mystics Podcast, and we are back.
Yes, we are.
It is post-Winter Solstice.
Yes, how are you feeling?
Yeah, happy Winter Solstice, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Better. Better than I have been the past couple days.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I was listening to the Winter Sky one that we just did, Winter Sky episode. It's good. I was like, oh, I want to go outside and look at everything. But it's cloudy the last couple of days. It was cloudy.
Yeah. We've had, because of the snow and the storms, it's been not so great. But typically, you'll have clearer nights.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we thought we'd kind of do a little recap on celebrating the Winter Solstice because it's something kind of new for both of us, right? Last year around this time, you gave that beautiful presentation about Winter Solstice, and it just kind of changed my mind on a lot of things. And I was like, I want to celebrate that so bad right now.
Yeah.
So,
I am so glad that we did that. I'm so glad that you put it together. I think it went really, really well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we had a party. I had a Winter Solstice gathering, and I had started planning this back in August. I was like, I want to do this. I want this to be something that I do, and that is a yearly thing, and I want this to be my tradition. Because we've talked about a few times that my kids are older, and they're in years or two, and they're kind of moving on to other, their significant others and stuff like that. So Christmas itself it's not that big of a deal, I guess, in our family right now. And for me, Christmas has been kind of weird for me to celebrate anyways, because as a child, yes, I loved the presents, obviously, and I was probably the first person to have the biggest list, but it was more because we were Catholic, and we were in the choir, and we were in the handbells, and we would go to church multiple times on Christmas Eve. We had midnight mass. And it was just, I loved that aspect. And then we would get together with family, and we'd have all the food. And I just loved all of that. Yeah. And I looked forward to all of that every year because the church was beautiful. It smelled beautiful. And with the midnight mass, it was dark and it was special. But moving forward to my own family, as most people know, I think that my kids are not my biological kids. They're my stepkids, technically. My husband doesn't believe, he's an atheist or agnostic or whatever. So that church aspect and that spiritual aspect of Christmas was gone.
Yeah.
And it was all kind of the consumerism portion of it. And I could not get into it. I mean, obviously, I loved giving the kids gifts, and I loved them opening it, and we have very appreciative kids, and they were always super excited for whatever they got. But it was missing something.
Yeah.
And so when you were talking about what the Winter Solstice means, and from a spiritual aspect, and it being a time to celebrate going into the sun coming back, and all of that, and kind of the spiritual aspect of that, it totally spoke to me.
Yeah, I appreciated that you put it together, the party, and that you kind of kept that meaning, that intention behind it. I remember talking about it last year and saying that's what we need. That's what I was looking for. That's what I really wanted to enjoy. So I was thinking about the party afterwards and being able to get together and have a nice warm meal. It was good food. I enjoyed it. It was something I've never had before. So I very much was excited about that. And then like sitting around the table and telling stories, and maybe it's not, you know, reading stories from a book or poems or things like that, but everybody was talking about their own personal stories and things that they've experienced. And I thought that that was like a great way of coming together. So that, top notch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was great. I love that because part of the traditions around the world, more of the ancient traditions, was that you get together the winter solstice, you would have a meal, and then you would tell stories. Mm-hmm. And that's like exactly what happened. So yeah. I just, I was more stressed out leading up to it than I intended to be. I had every intention to be like, look, you're not going to stress out about this. That's not the point of this. But, you know, we ended up redoing our flooring that week leading up to, like, we literally, like, hit Friday at midnight before the party. So I was tired and stressed out because of that. But honestly, it wasn't, I still was ready and was happy to have everybody over. Part of what we did was I made a little craft, which I was like, you know, how many people want to go to a party and make a craft? But I was like, we're doing it anyways because I really I really wanted something that again was a grounded and fun and not toxic and, you know, something that wasn't just sitting around drinking. So we made a craft it was a jar that we all decorated to put the 13 wishes in. Mm-hmm. And we've been doing ours. We've burned ours the last two days. So, and everybody got into it, and it was fun to see everybody's jars that their own little personalities. So
yeah, I was actually going to talk about mine because I was extremely intentional with it. It's sitting right here. Yeah. I was extremely intentional with it as far as what I did for it, right? So I picked a pickle jar. Yes. And I was like, yes. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that was a pickle jar. I need that. It's like holding all the energy of preservation, and like the things that I want to grow can be held in there, and the things that I want to release we can pull out. So the jar that I picked, I was intentional about. And then how I decorated it. And I picked this blue ribbon that you had with the silver like snowflakes on it. It, for some reason, when I looked at it, I thought of like the night sky, the winter night sky. And I was like, oh, it's so clear. So that's going to bring me clarity. And then I picked a red ribbon for protection. And then I put the bells for cleansing energies. And then my niece got to it and she finished decorating it. And so it has more than that. But I was like, step by step, just putting it together. Like, what about this is going to be as intentional as possible and hold the meaning that I want it to hold for the purpose of the jar.
I love that. Love that.
I was really excited about that.
Yeah, I had put intention in the fact that I wanted to be happy with what I was doing, and like it being like a creative process and something that I was going to put these intentions in. So I wanted to be kind of mindful of that and make it pretty and stuff. I got a little frustrated though because I think it looked a little bit like the Russian flag or something. I fixed it though. I got some of that blue ribbon in there. I think it turned out okay at the end, but what is this? And I love that your niece came. She was so like into that craft and the wishes and
the whole time. And I don't know if you remember. So I had told you that day, like I wasn't expecting to bring her, and then it just turned out that I was bringing her. Fine. The last time that we went to your house, she was like, okay, for a little while. And then she was like, I gotta go. Let's go. Yeah. I'm ready to go. Come on. Are we leaving? This past weekend when we were there, she's like, I don't want to leave. No, I'm not ready to go. I don't want to go. And I was like, we need to go.
I know. At first she was like super reserved, and then she like just came out of her shell and she was loving it. And I was like, oh, that made me so happy.
Yeah. So it was good for her too. And she was so excited to bring her jar home, and she was like, I'm going to show my mom it's my wish jar. And I was like, okay.
Good.
So that was cute. But
yeah,
I think the One piece that I think I want to try to bring to that experience next year is trying to incorporate like nature in a different way for myself. And I don't mean like for the party or the jar or anything like that, but before or after, how could I be a little bit more intentional about how I interact with nature?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was going back and forth as to whether I wanted to make my own like Yule log. And I was like, I just don't have time for that right now. And everything was wet because it had been raining. And I was like, ugh. But I bought this. I suppose you're not supposed to buy it, but whatever. I bought like this centerpiece thing that is made out of bark. And then it had real evergreen trees in it.
Yeah.
And I put little candles in front of it. So I think I did a pretty good modern day. And then Chit and I lit the candles after everybody left to kind of symbolize the coming of the light. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But one of the other things too is that I was very intentional with the meal that I served, because the night before Yule, because that's technically when we did it, was the 20th, is that it's a honoring of mothers and female ancestors and feminine energy. And the recipe I did was a Hungarian chicken paprikash, and that is passed down from my Hungarian grandmother to my aunt and then to me. So I wanted to do something that was representative of my family in some way, and so that's why I chose that one, because I was like, I want to do something that's like specific to my heritage.
I love that. I didn't realize, I knew that it was a Hungarian dish. I didn't realize that it was something that was like specifically passed down in your family. And now that I do know that, I wonder if some part of that is why it seemed so like comforting. Like the meal itself was very, I don't know, that's the way that I felt about it when I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want right now. It's like perfect. So
I mean, it's a very comforting dish to begin with. And yeah, well, that was my intention, is that I wanted it to be a family comfort food. So I'm glad you felt that way. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. Now when I know I asked you for the recipe, so now when I go to make it, I'm going to have to like hold that intention.
Yep.
Cool.
But yeah, so that I just loved every minute of it. It was a great time, and it was a great group of people, and it was just a fun night to have. So
yeah, very much appreciated it. How did your solstice go the next day? Hey friends, we just wanted to take a moment to remind you all that you can interact with us on social media. We can be found at Curious Mystics Podcast on all platforms.
And if you haven't already, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share so that we can keep showing up for you guys with new weekly episodes and content. Thank you for hanging out with us so far, and stay curious.
Good. I did not get up until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Because we had been up after midnight the entire week prior. So I was just dead. I was like, I'm not moving. And then Chit and I spent the day together, basically. We went and didn't do anything exciting. It was mundane, but we just spent the whole day together just doing stuff. So it wasn't bad. How about yours?
It was good. I got up. I didn't like get up and start moving around, but I was awake early. My niece didn't get up till like 11. So I was like intentionally letting her sleep. Normally she just wakes up and just starts running. I was letting her sleep and thinking about like, yeah, this is the perfect day to have a slow morning, a lazy morning. Just let it be very, very nonchalant. Like not having to have any sort of expectation about how the day is going to go. So it was good in that. And then I spent some time with her doing some errands, and we were very, very present. So that was also a nice thing. And the end of the day, on the solstice, we went and saw the lights at the park, which is probably the time that everyone else and their mother was trying to go. It took us like an hour and a half.
Gosh.
It took us like 45 minutes to get into the park from like literally 2 seconds down the road. But it was very beautiful, so we got to do that. And then that evening, I burned my first intention. So, yeah, it was a really good day overall.
That's good. The lights in the park are one of my favorite little traditions to do. They do such a good job.
It is wild. I think driving by that park all of the time, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful park, but it's always like just driving by the park. It's not anything special. And then this season comes, and the way that they put those lights up, I'm like, wow.
It transforms the whole park.
Absolutely.
And
so
I'm huge into like the lights anyways. I don't put a lot of lights around my own house. Like I don't do a ton of decoration in my own house, but I love Christmas lights. Absolutely love them. So I just love going to see all of that.
Yeah. We went and we drove through the park, so it took us maybe like a half hour, but just kind of like slowly going through and seeing all the lights. If they're still there this coming weekend, I'm going to go back and get out of the car and be able to like walk around with them.
Yeah, we usually only get out and walk around the little house.
Yeah.
At the end. That's usually where we walk around.
There was just too many people like in line for me to disrupt the flow.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
But, yeah.
It is a popular destination. One thing that I am very grateful for is that Chit gets into the burning.
Yeah.
Like last year we did it for the first time, and he very intentionally sat down, and it took him a really long time to write his wishes last year, and it took him even longer this year. Wow. And he's very intentional with it. So, which surprises me because I guess it shouldn't surprise me. I feel like, I don't know, I think a lot of times if I'm into it, he's into it, but I don't know. It's like sometimes I think he's more woo-woo than he he wants to claim.
Yeah.
But yeah, he totally gets into it. We burn it, and very intentional about it.
That's awesome. I remember last year I told my family about it, and they expressed interest but then didn't follow through. And I didn't say anything this year, but I think maybe I'll push it again next year and be like, hey guys, I want to do this thing. What do you think some of your highs were of the year? The things that went well for you this year?
Oh, of the year? It was a decent year. It was a really, I shouldn't even say decent. It was a good year. I shouldn't even say decent. It was a very good year this year, especially compared to previous years. So, highest for me is I did a lot of transformational work for myself, on myself, and I feel that that was very much needed and pretty good, pretty thorough. Another high is learning about shamanism. I've been doing that all year. That started like October of 2024.
Yeah.
So learning about shamanism this year and just really finding my power and my groove in that. Let's see, what else? I feel like Chit and I went on a really fun trip. We went actually on several trips this year.
Yeah.
Chit and I did, yeah. And I myself, too. My sibling got married, and that was a beautiful ceremony. I went out to Utah, I think, a couple of times to visit with my sister, which I always love. Oh, we went out to Utah. The whole family went out to Utah.
Yeah.
So we did a whole family trip with my sister and my family, and that was amazing. Oh my gosh, I got to see the Grand Tetons. Woo. Yeah, so I had a lot of highs this year. That's why I can't even think of all of them.
Yeah, I know. I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, I'm going to ask her. And I was thinking about for myself how I would answer that. And I was like, what even? I'm like, I feel good about it, but what even happened? Yeah.
To me, it's so crazy. It's only been a year like this year has just been so different and transformational and than it has been the last several years that I can't even believe it's only been a year since 2024 even. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very grateful and happy about that.
Good. I think it's always nice to be able to like, this time of year, people tend to do some reflecting and try to plan for next year and things like that. And that's great. But I think even more than that, to be able to look at the experiences that you had, good, bad, or indifferent, and see what you're taking away from that. And I'm not saying like, oh, there's always a lesson to be had or there's always something to grow from or whatever. But to be able to have that moment and say, hey, this was actually different than intended or better, or maybe it turned out totally unexpected and not great, but that experience somehow was impactful. Yeah, because that's kind of where I landed. It's like I was thinking about what things went really well for me this year or what were my highs of the year, and the top things that came to mind, one is that it wasn't, I wouldn't necessarily say this was a like positive thing, but it is a positive thing. I have become much more intentional with my relationships. So on the not positive side, that has led to like me removing myself in certain ways or what I give to certain relationships. And although that has happened, it doesn't mean that those relationships have gone bad. It's just like, hey, I don't need to give as much of myself, or I don't need to give myself in this way. And then on the other hand, in other relationships, it's led to like a flourishing of those relationships and those relationships changing into different things. So I think that was a big thing for me that I kind of am taking away. And my vacations this year they've been different. Typically, I'm very like consistent with the timing and the types of places I go. And this year the timing was different and the places that I went were different. So I very much enjoyed being able to go on those trips with the people that I went on at the times that I went, to the places that I went, to the things that we did. I think that were all really good.
I feel like the trip you took to, was it
Tennessee.
Like that was kind of an unexpected thing for you, like a place to go.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was unexpected for how you felt about it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't know that I would have ever seen myself going to Tennessee. The Smoky Mountains were beautiful. It was that entire experience was really, really great. It was totally different than I could have ever imagined. And I know that we've talked about this before. The bears. The bears. I don't know what it is. We are now, December 23rd. I have had so many encounters with bears this year, in my dreams, in real life, all over the place. And I'm still not 100% sure why, but they keep coming up. And that was definitely a place where it was like every single day, at least once a day, but more than often, more than that.
You're like, there's multiple bears everywhere.
Yeah. Like every time I try to go outside, there's a bear.
Have you like tried to meditate on the bear situation? Like why it keeps coming up?
I did a while ago, when it first started happening, when it was just kind of in my dreams, and there was some kind of like guidance into what that could be. I haven't done it again since, and it's kind of, I was telling you about this over the weekend, it's kind of evolving, I think, in some way, because the last dream that I had the night before the party, the types of bears I was seeing were different. So yeah, I haven't since then like looked back into it, and I do plan to. I try to give myself a little bit of space, because at this point I feel like I'm attacked by bears all the time. So
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it'd be an interesting kind of exercise to figure out what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe eventually it will become...
Yeah. More clear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's typically what happens with me anyway.
I wanted to go back to your like intentional with relationships thing, and you said it wasn't necessarily like positive, but I feel like it is because it's positive for you and that you're keeping your space.
Yeah.
And yes, it might have had like a quote unquote positive outcome with that relationship, but in the long run, it's going to keep yourself more protected and allow yourself to have more of you.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just that it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable to do. I'm thinking about like a couple relationships in particular that I had given myself in maybe ways that I didn't have to give. Like, I don't have the energy to give to this relationship, or the time, or the finances, or the support, or the whatever it was that I was giving. But I was doing it anyway out of a sense of obligation, or not necessarily that I felt obligated because those people were making me feel obligated, but I felt like, hey, this is a person that I care about, so I have to show up for them in any possible way. And it wasn't serving me, and it wasn't serving them. Mm-hmm. And that was the switch that kind of happened for me. I'm like, I'm doing all of this, and yet they aren't excelling in so many ways. They aren't taking what I'm giving them and growing. They aren't, nothing is changing for them, and nothing is changing for me. And for me, it feels worse. So
yeah,
it was uncomfortable to take a step back in those ways. However, that has given me a little bit of freedom from feeling like I had to give, and it's given me more of a sense of peace of like, hey, you can still love them, you can still support them in other ways, but you don't have to give everything of yourself. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for them.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you were able to do that, because it's very important to be able to do that. And it's hard. It's so hard in so many ways, in so many relationships, for sure.
Yeah. I think in the relationships that I did do it in, it was a very long time coming. It's not something that, just happened over the year. This was like a lifetime of changes that needed to happen. And that being said, I still feel sometimes like that sense of obligation of like, I should do more, I should do different, and I have to like pull myself back actively still. But I think I've seen a lot of positive changes from it for myself, so.
It's an ever-evolving process, anytime it's a growth process, so it's a growth for you, and it's always going to kind of need refreshed and renewed and re-looked at. Yeah,
reassessing it as I need to, but that was probably one of the biggest things that I think I've taken from this year, because there have been a lot of shifts that have happened in my relationships. And like I said, the other relationships have like flourished in different ways. It has also allowed me to show up differently. So instead of showing up and being like, hey, I have to show up, I get to show up. I want to show up. And that's a different type of energy as opposed to like, oh, here's another thing I have to do.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, which then can grow the other relationships even stronger, even more. Yeah. When you just said that, it kind of made me think of some things that we've been going to family functions a little bit more on Chit's side, a little bit more than we have in the last few years, and I like his family. It's not that I'm saying I don't like his family, but sometimes it's tiring. But this time, every time we went, I was just so like, I was very, very present. Like I was making a very concerted effort to be talkative and stuff. And so it was good. I felt good after those encounters instead of just like, oh, I'm so tired, like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that is really kind of the thing that I looked at is like starting there. From the beginning of any interaction, am I feeling tense or anxious about this? Am I already feeling drained about it? Am I already going into it? Am I already at a, depleted point? That's going to make a difference in how I engage with the interaction and how I feel about it afterwards. So being able to set myself up and say, oh, actually, I need to take care of myself first, or I'm going to do something different, or I'm going to approach it from a different perspective or engage in a different way. And that gives you a better, or at least it gave me a better outcome for those moments.
Absolutely. During this solstice season, do you have any sort of like goals or things that you're going to be doing, like rituals or anything like that you're intending to put into place?
This year in particular, I am just trying to be really present, very present with myself, with my relationships, with all that I'm doing, and not just being present, but being non-judgmentally present, which is hard for me to do sometimes.
Understandably.
I tend to, knowingly or unknowingly, I tend to have like expectations of myself. I have to engage in this way. I have to have this experience. I have to, whatever. And so I'm trying to just allow things to be what they are, which is a little uncomfortable, but it is what it is. In the same way that you said, you're trying not to stress about going into the party and preparing for the party. That's not the purpose of it. But if it happens, it happens. That's the side of it that I'm taking is like, okay, if it happens, let me notice that it's happening. Let me reset and then go back into it. If it goes exactly as I expect it to go, great. If it doesn't, okay. That doesn't have to mean anything one way or another. So I think that's the piece that I'm trying to like focus a little bit more on. So examples of that would be like, I love to look at the night sky. I am also extremely tired when the sun goes down. It's like the second it gets dark, it's 4:30 and I'm like, it's time for bed.
Like bedtime.
Right. So what I have been doing though is me and my tiny bladder get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I will go and stare out my kitchen windows because those windows aren't covered and so you can see very clearly. And I just get to look and sit with the stars for a minute. I have my binoculars in there, so if I'm, looking at a planet or something,
oh, nice.
I get to do that. And just let that moment be that moment. And then I can go to bed. And even though it's not this giant romanticized, I get to stare at the sky all night, which I would love to do.
Right.
It's okay. I still get to enjoy it for that moment. And if I don't, then I don't. If I just go to the bathroom or don't wake up at all and go back to bed, fine. That's fine too. It's like those types of things that I'm trying to be very non-judgmentally present with.
Yeah, I like that. I have a client that I'm working with, and we've been talking, and my advice to them has been, don't get caught up in like the minutia or like I have to, and if I don't do it this way, it's wrong, because then you kind of lose the whole point of it, and then it becomes a chore and it becomes something that's frustrating and not something that is like enjoyable. So like you could be sitting here being frustrated that like you don't get to actually like spend time, but you're being grateful and excited to be able to just even spend that small amount of time, and that's good. That's super important, I think, in a lot of things, especially like in spiritual things, but like in life in general, is that even that small amount is beneficial to you. And so that's okay. Like that's like, and then that adds up, because then you do it a different night, or you do something else that's beneficial or whatever that feeds your soul, and then it adds up over time. It doesn't have to be big things all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it exactly. Because I think, at least for myself, I get caught up in the, what is it supposed to look like? What is society saying that it's supposed to look like? What is the spiritual community saying it's supposed to look like? What does the family say it's supposed to look like? Whatever it is, right? Whether I'm talking about the way that I make a meal, or I'm talking about the quality of my relationships, or I'm talking about the way that I work, or it doesn't matter what part of life I'm talking about. If I get caught up in what the expectations of that are, whether it's my own expectations or anybody else's, then suddenly the experience itself is no longer important or significant or meaningful, and that's not always beneficial. It's not always true, and it can take away from, like, existing. So, yeah, that has been my biggest, I think my biggest goal this year, but definitely at this time of year, I'm trying to be very intentional with that. And like we talked about last year for the solstice episode, this time of year is hard for me. I tend to get down. I tend to get depressed. And so in order to combat that, this is one of the things that I'm doing. It's not like the depression, when I experience it, is very like this giant void. Nothing means anything. Why? What's the point? So to combat that, I'm like, oh, this is the point. If I'm drinking my coffee, it's just to drink my coffee. Right. That's the point. It's not about some giant meaning or some grand expectation. If I'm getting to work and I happen to, I don't know, pop a tire and I'm running late because of that, the point is that I need to slow down. That's it. That's it. It just is what it is. And not trying to make it something much bigger, because that's where I get lost sometimes.
Yeah. That ties back into my thoughts after we did that episode of the Winter Solstice last year. It just lit me up, the thought about this is a time, this is like a magical time, this is a beautiful time, this is a time for reflection. Just all of that, versus prior to that, it was like, oh, it's the consumerism and the stress and the it's dark and it's and you know what I mean? Like that is what had seeped into my mind over the years. Yeah. And when I just heard about how other cultures have celebrated and what the solstice even means and all this other thing, it just like lit me up to be open to, this is a time of like, I don't even know. I don't know how to, I just say magic, but like it's not magic, but like that to me is how I'm feeling about it. It's like a magical time and a whimsical time. I don't even know the words, but that's kind of how I'm going into this season, is to kind of keep that feeling of this is a beautiful time and this is a time to celebrate and look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. So I hope that's something that I can keep doing. I mean, overall, but definitely in significant times of year like this.
Trying to remember that in mid-January and February when it's still crappy. But then we have Symbolic to look forward to. So.
Yeah. And we will be talking about that. So.
And we will be. Yeah.
Cool.
So, well, how do you feel?
I feel good. I am ready for whatever comes next. Whether it's whatever I have next to do today, which I think is just a little bit of like organizing, or whatever comes next, big picture. So I'm ready.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
Well, again, thanks for coming to my Winter Solstice, and I hope everybody else was able to have some sort of connection with the Winter Solstice, and if not, there's still time. It's still solstice season. So, put a little magic, put a little reflection. Yeah. A little grace.
Yes.
And a little love into this season.
Agreed.
Talk to you later.
All right.
Stay
curious.
Bye.